All right, so when we have a repeated linear factor, basically what we need to do is rewrite the proper fraction as a over x plus 1 plus b over x take 1, and then we repeat the thing again, so c over x take 1 squared, and we keep going until we reach that power. So that's what I'm trying to say with this up here. So if we have to the power of n, we do it over once, twice, until we get to n. Okay, so we've got the same here. Then from there, what we need to figure out is what a, b, and c are equal to. So if we go ahead and maybe skip it a step and sort of get right there, we can say that a, or x, the numerator, is equal to a outside of x take 1 squared, right? Because to get this a over, this denominator, we're going to have to multiply by x take 1 squared. B is going to have to be multiplied by x plus 1 and x take 1. It needs an x plus 1 and then another x take 1 to become x take 1 squared. And C, it's already got the x take 1 squared, so we just need the x plus 1 out the front. Now, rather than expanding and doing all of that this time, what we're going to do instead is be a little bit smart with it and say, well, if I let x equal to 1, well, a and b are going to cancel out, right? Because if we put 1 in here, we're going to have 1 take 1, which is 0. Same here. And a and b are going to cancel out. And what we're going to be left with is if we put 1 in for x here, we're going to be left with 2c, right? Which is implying that, well, c is equal to a half. We'll do that again. If we let x equal negative 1, well, we're going to have negative 1 on the left-hand side of the equation in here. C is going to cancel out and b is going to cancel out because we're going to have 0 for these linear factors. And we're going to have negative 1 take 1, which is 2, and that's going to give us 4a. All right, so a is going to be equal to negative 1/4. Now for b, we can't put anything in that will cancel a and c out without b cancelling out, so I'm going to put in the easiest number to work with, which is 0. So if we put 0 in, we're going to have 0 take 1, so squared, so that's going to be negative a, right? So if we put that all in, we're going to get, I should rephrase that. If we if we put 0 in here, we're going to get a, so that's just going to be negative 1/4. Put 0 in here, we're going to get negative b, and if we put 0 in here, we're going to get 1c, and c is just a half. Okay, so we've got that there. Then from there, we can figure out what b is. So negative 1/4 plus a half is positive 1/4. Move it to the other side and negate it. It's saying that b is equal to 1/4. Okay, from there, our integral. So our integral becomes 1 over negative 1 outside of 4x plus 1. If we substitute in our value of a, b is 1/4, so that becomes 1 over 4 outside of x take 1. And then c is a half, and we're going to get 1 outside of 2x take 1 squared. Okay, so integrating this. The first one's not too bad. It just becomes negative 1/4 ln of x plus 1. Plus pretty much the same thing, except we've got x take 1. Now this, we can't use ln, right, because it doesn't really work with this. So let's talk about integrating this. So if we just look at integrating that by itself, right, we can't use ln. You'll find if you go to do it, it doesn't work really. So we can rewrite this as the integral of x take 1 to the negative 2 on 2. And if we go to integrate that, well, what we've got, right, the integral of x take 1 is just 1, so that kind of works. And then we've got the negative 2 up the front at the top, so we've got the 1 out the front that gets scooped back in by the chain rule, and we get x take 1 to the negative 1 if we add a power up there. But we've got to do a little bit more thinking, right? Because if we differentiate this, we actually need a negative out the front for that to become positive, right? So we need to put a negative out the front of this, and this is still over 2. And then we're left with negative 1 over x take 1. And with the 2 out the front there. Okay, so that's what we get for our integral of that. I'm going to take that off instead of plussing it. 1 over 2 outside of x take 1. Okay, and plus c. And that's the end of this question.